This is the AB4WS radio show. Every week, bringing you the exciting amateur radio news and information happening in the greater Cincinnati, Ohio, Kentucky, and Indiana areas.
The AB4WS radio show can be found on the Apple Podcast app or your favorite podcast application. Are you ready for an event that has occurred only 15 times in the last 150 years in the United States, and the next one not expected until August of 2044? Here's Mark Stephen Williams, K9GX, with the information on this historical event and some information on how it affects ham radio.
Millions of folks will observe April's total solar eclipse. Now, excluding Alaska and Hawaii, 328 million Americans are within a 2-day drive of the central path. Most will observe visually using eclipse glasses or properly filtered telescopes. All of the lower 48 contiguous states will see at least a partial solar eclipse. A solar eclipse presents a unique, rare opportunity to make useful observations of Earth's ionosphere and related systems. Radio amateurs, broadcast band DXers, and scientists will be listening, monitoring, and researching the effects of the eclipse on the upper atmosphere and space physics. The Ham Radio Science Investigation, HAMSCI, is a platform to advance scientific research through amateur radio activities. How can you contribute? Can you listen to the eclipse? Well, my guests today are Dr. David Kasdan, Alpha Delta 8 Yankee, and Adam Goodman, Whiskey 7 Oscar Kilo Echo. Dr. Kasdan is Adjunct Assistant Professor Electrical Engineering and faculty advisor to the Case Amateur Radio Club, Whiskey 8 Echo Delta Uniform at Case Western University in Cleveland. Good day, gentlemen.
HAMSCI is the Amateur Radio Science Citizen Initiative. It's a loosely organized consortium of university and government and industrial amateur radio researchers who want to know more about the structure of the ionosphere and perhaps make some contributions to the fundamental physics of that and to the engineering applications of it, the ways that space weather and the structure of the ionosphere affect engineered products like power grids and communications systems.
I've been a DXer. I started DXing broadcast band radio when I was 11 years old, and then I learned a little bit about gray line. And during this eclipse, we'll have daylight, gray line, and then daylight. All again within a period of just a few minutes. So what has the team learned, and what are we going to try to do during Eclipse 2024?
Well, you're certainly correct. The eclipse is the extraordinary natural experiment where you get to experience the ionosphere with a sharp turn off and then turn on again of all of the sun's output of visual light and ultraviolet light and soft X-rays. Certainly, we have a day-night terminator. You have a change in the ionosphere every sunset and every sun up, but it's gradual. The eclipse gives a sharp-edged view of that, and over the decades and now centuries of radio studies during eclipses, the aspects of the ionosphere, like the recombination time of ions in the D layer, have been studied. And we hope to provide new information about that for amateur radio operators and shortwave listeners who want to know more about propagation, for those who are interested in indirect measurements of weather on the surface of the sun, like sunspots and coronal mass ejections, and maybe even for operators of power grids and communication systems and navigation systems that are dependent on all of that. We're building these large distributed instruments, meta-instruments, that make these measurements, and we hope to provide new information about it, new ways of providing reasonably inexpensive, geographically distributed measurements of the ionosphere.
We were near solar minimum in 2017. Will there be any interest in comparing 2024 versus 2017?
Well, yes, there will, and you're correct. This eclipse, the April 8th eclipse, will be nearly at the peak of cycle 25. It should be different, and for viewers, it should have a spectacular corona. This should be a once-in-a-lifetime event.
Right.
We recorded very interesting data, mostly monitoring the National Institute of Standards and Technology station, WWV,
Right.
in Colorado, across the path of the eclipse. We'll be doing that this time also, but I want Adam to say a few words about a different measurement that we're able to make on this eclipse from Canadian National Research Laboratory Station, CHU, because of every eclipse being different and the coincidence of this eclipse being lined up with Ottawa, Ontario. So here's Adam.
So, Adam, we're going to be listening. We're going to be monitoring CHU on April 8th. Is that right?
That is correct. So CHU, as David mentioned, it's the Canada version of WWV out of Boulder, Colorado.
Right.
It's their time standard. They have transmitters near the 20-meter band, the 40-meter band, and the 80-meter band.
Yes, sir.
Between 1 to 3 kilowatts. And they, in essence, are Canada's version of WWV. What CHU provides, and what makes them particularly unique for this eclipse, is if you look at the map, the eclipse path goes relatively close to where they're located in Ottawa, Ontario. And what it allows is when you have your large transmitting station sort of toward the end of the eclipse, sort of toward the path, what you can do is you can set up a bunch of other stations along the path of the eclipse, and get some really interesting data along the Great Circle path.
Now,
So
you're talking about people listening along the path, right?
Listening along the path. We have stations pretty much from Mexico, actually, near the Pacific Ocean where the eclipse starts, going all the way up through Texas, through Arkansas, Missouri, Indiana, Ohio, all the way up to Canada, where they're each going to be recording these CHU frequencies. And the data we're getting will be particularly relevant, as in this case, it will be along the path of the eclipse.
Are they measuring signal strength, or are they recording it, or what? How will that happen?
Yeah, sure. So we actually, it's kind of interesting. We have multiple methods of data collection and different types of equipment that's going to be used. But what they're going to be measuring, and this is another thing that makes the CHU project unique, is the time between each second tick that is located on CHU sideband. So our previous work focused mostly on the carrier tone within WWV. But because we're focused on the sidebands right now, and the amplitude of them and the time in between, that will give us some other additional information that makes it unique from the previous experiments.
For more information on the HAMSCI project, visit HAMSCI, that's HAMSCI, at hamsci.org. Next week, I'll discuss the CHU monitoring project, skip points, recombination of the D layer, and what we hope to learn during the eclipse with Adam and David. And thanks for your time today, gentlemen. And if you're in southern Indiana or the Louisville area, I'll be hosting Get Ready for the Total Solar Eclipse, a presentation Saturday, March 23rd at 3 p.m. at the Jeffersonville Public Library, Jeffersonville, Indiana. We'll share locations, weather concerns, how to safely observe a solar eclipse, and give away a few pair of eclipse shades with astronomy quizzes. For details, visit my Facebook page, Stargazer Astronomy. 73 from Mark, Kilowatt 9, Germany X-ray.
Congratulations to my neighbor down the road in Union, Kentucky, Neil Rapp, WB9 VPG, who has been awarded the YASME Excellence Award. This award recognizes Neil's many contributions to amateur radio in recruiting, training, and mentoring young operators through the years. The initial school club sponsorship, followed by managing the Region 2 YOTA camps, providing administrative assistance for the camps through the nonprofit organization, and managing the Hamvention's Ham Radio 2.0 showcase, have all made a huge impact on recruiting young operators is key to the survival of amateur radio, and Neil's tireless efforts are appreciated by everyone. Congratulations, Neil. Orlando Hamcation recorded record attendance at Hamcation this year. The attendance of 25,321 was the largest in Hamcation history. I can personally attest to the fact that it was a great Hamfest. The Harlan County Amateur Radio Emergency Communications Service Coordinator Woody KO4UMQ oversaw participation by Harlan County EMMCOMM Group in the Kentucky statewide tornado drill that was held on March 6. The net was activated and check-ins were taken, as well as a short training information segment presented on tornado safety on the net. Want to improve your amateur radio operating skills? Well, a free weekly 3-hour amateur radio operating class on Zoom will begin on Thursday, April 4th and run through June 20th at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. The presenters will be various experienced folks in various subjects. A detailed syllabus will be published before the classes begin. You can attend them all or any that you like, but you must register for the class in advance. To receive registration information, contact Roland Anders, K3RA, at roland.anders@comcast.net. Congratulations to the 9 new technicians and 7 who upgraded to general and 1 who upgraded to extra class at the testing session at the Georgetown Police Department. Many had just finished the Bluegrass Amateur Radio Society class. Great job. Congratulations to all of them. A tentative balloon launch has been scheduled for March 29th at 8:30 a.m. from Southside Elementary School in Woodford County, Versailles, Kentucky. Mrs. Candy, the STEM promoter and school librarian, is hosting the event. Plans are to launch Frank's KA4USA-2 balloon. Students will come out to the launch area and watch, and then several classes of 20 to 25 students will come to the library where they will present the technical information regarding the balloon and start tracking it on APRS.FI using a large monitor. The students and their parents will get all the info they need to continue to track the balloon from their homes in the days and hopefully weeks to follow. This is a great STEM project. Thanks to Matthew Basanta, KY4EOD, and of course Frank McClanahan, KA4USA, for making this happen. The Dayton Hamvention has announced the 2024 awards. Congratulations for the Special Achievement Award to Anthony Luscre, K8ZT. Technical Achievement Award to Ward Silver, N0AX. Club of the Year goes to the Young Ladies Radio League. And Amateur of the Year Award goes to Edward Engelman, KG8CX. Congratulations. Congratulations to Justin Moore, K8COY, who has had his first book successfully published titled The Radiophonics Library, Telecommunications, Speech Synthesis, and the Birth of Electronic Music. This book first began as a series of articles that he wrote for the Okayan newsletter, the Q5er, back in the spring of 2016 when he was a new ham. Congratulations, K8COY. Have you ever wondered what POTA is? Well, Parks on the Air is a program that encourages ham radio operators to get their equipment out to a park, set up, and contact as many operators as they can using their portable setup, which mimics true emergency conditions. Well, if you have never done it, the Northern Kentucky Amateur Radio Club is offering you an opportunity of a lifetime and providing you with the opportunity to join them on March 16, 2024 at the Big Bone State Historic Site, top of the hill at the campgrounds entrance in Big Bone, Kentucky, at 9 a.m. for their first Parks on the Air Club activity. Many experienced POTA operators will bring their equipment and set up making contacts, showing off their equipment and helping those unfamiliar with ham radio and Parks on the Air and answering all of your questions. If you don't have a license, come on out and see what the hobby is all about, and maybe we can get you on the air with the assistance of a control operator so you can experience what ham radio in the park is all about. It's guaranteed to be a great time, and I hope to see you there. On March 16th, the MONIX South Group will be meeting at the Donato's Pizza, 15 Donnemeyer Drive in Bellevue, Kentucky, for an exchange of radio monitoring information. Want to learn about SWL and scanner monitoring in our area? Come on out and listen to this interesting exchange of information. The Northern Kentucky Amateur Radio Club will be meeting on March 18th at 7 p.m. at the Bethesda Community Church, 989 East Mount Zion Road in Independence, Kentucky. Come on out and listen to the expert guest speaker, Steve Lewis, NATFD, who will be helping you with the skills needed to provide communication for community events like the Flying Pig Marathon. Steve is the ARRL Aries DEC for Southwestern Ohio and a seasoned veteran who has coordinated and participated in emergency communication events like the Flying Pig Marathon, the Florence Honor Run, and the Ohio River Paddle Fest. Interested in Northern Kentucky Amateur Radio Emergency Service? Well, come to the meeting of the old Kentucky District 7 Amateur Radio Emergency Response Team, now being retooled into the Amateur Radio Emergency Response Team in Northern Kentucky, which will meet on March 25th at 7 p.m. at the Bethesda Community Church, 989 East Mount Zion Road in Independence, Kentucky. Issues of the past are being corrected and the organization is being re-energized, so come on in and join in. Ham Radio Science Citizen Investigation, known as HAMSCI, will hold its 6th annual workshop on March 22nd and 23rd at the Case Western Reserve University in Cleveland, Ohio. The event is meant to bring together the amateur radio community and professional scientists. For more information, go to HAMSCI.org. The X-Warren Group is looking for amateur radio operators to volunteer to help in the Xenia Marathon on April 7th. The race starts at 8 a.m. and expected to end 6 hours later. Amateur radio operators will report on race progress like lead runners, runner density, the trail end, and obviously all emergencies like runner injuries, logistical issues, and assist the course marshals. Volunteers are expected to utilize their 2-meter transceiver with a good antenna and spare batteries. Earphones are also recommended. The event will utilize the X-Warren repeater on 147.165 with a PL of 123.0. A loaner transceiver possibly can be provided if you need one. If you would like to volunteer for this event, please contact Bob, N8ADO, at n8ADO@woh.rr.com. Steve, NATFD, is looking for volunteers for this year's Flying Pig Marathon with activities May 1st through May 5th. The volunteer website is up and going at flyingpigmarathon.volunteerlocal.com. Use the password of HAM. If you have questions or problems, reach out to Steve, NATFD, at natfd@fuse.net.
Do you know where the action's at?
Every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, tune into the Kansas City-wide network for Let's Talk Digital with Bucky, W0SUN, where he talks about technical information involving the digital voice modes, not just C4FM and Yaesu Fusion and Wires X, but also DMR, D-Star, hotspots, and other forms of communications from a technical and educational perspective. Bucky has a way of delivering technical information in such a way that those who are not real technical can comprehend and answer your questions and assist you with the problems and troubleshooting of your digital voice issues. So on Thursday nights, tune into Wires X Kansas City Wide Room 28054 or YSF Room 32453 or D-Star XRF 458A or Brandmeister Talk Group 313136 or Echolink W0FH-L or even call Ham Shack Hotline extension 94077 for Let's Talk Digital with Bucky, certainly where the action is.
Repeater news.
The X-Warren 443.100 repeater is back on the air in Xenia, Ohio. The Northern Kentucky Amateur Radio Club has moved the 147.255 repeater back to the Edgewood, Kentucky Bill Davies repeater site. The repeater has a PL tone of 123.0. Still needs to be fine-tuned, but if you get a chance, check it out. The KPIG 147.375 repeater in Walton, Kentucky is still suffering from an issue that when the temperature gets warm, the repeater no longer operates. KC8ZUM is aware of it and promises to get a solution to the issue in place soon. KPIG Group continues to work hard on the move of the BIG repeaters to the new location. The repeaters are off the air but are in the new home, waiting for electric service, some new feed line, and antennas. And hopefully once that is done, it'll be back on the air with even stronger signals than before from the new location.
Hamfests.
On March 16, 2024, the Sevierville County Amateur Radio Society sponsors the 2024 Sevierville, Tennessee Hamfest at the Sevier County Fairgrounds, 754 Old Knoxville Highway in Sevierville, Tennessee. On March 17, 2024, is the Toledo Mobile Radio Association Hamfest and Computer Fair at the Owens Community College, 30335 Oregon Road in Perrysburg, Ohio. On April 6th, the Lincoln Trail Amateur Radio Club will host the 46th Annual Elizabethtown Hamfest from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. at 630 College Street Road in Elizabethtown, Kentucky. For more information or to reserve a table, contact ENGINR@comcast.net or call 270-777-2394. On April 13th, the Cuyahoga Falls Amateur Radio Club will celebrate the 68th Hamfest Electronic and Computer Show from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Amidio & Sons Party Center, 48 East Bass Street in Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio. Check in on the 147.27 or the 444.85 repeaters. April 13th is the Mid-Ohio Valley Amateur Radio Club Hamfest at the Fellowship of Faith Church, 20344 State Route 554 in Bidwell, Ohio. April 13th is the Columbus, Indiana Hamfest at the Columbus North High School Cafeteria, 1400 25th Street in Columbus, Indiana. Talking on the 146.79 repeater with a 103.5 PL tone. April 27th is the Tusco Amateur Radio Club Hamfest at the Tuscarawas County Fairgrounds, 259 South Tuscarawas Avenue in Dover, Ohio. April 28th is the Athens Hamfest at the Athens Community Center, 701 East State Street in Athens, Ohio.
Are you looking to upgrade your license? Do you have someone else that's interested in the hobby? Here are some upcoming exam opportunities.
The Milford Amateur Radio Club holds amateur radio testing on the third Thursday of each month at 6 p.m. at the Miami Township Civic Center, 6101 Meyer Drive in Milford, Ohio. Please pre-register at milfordhamradio.org. The Dayton Amateur Radio Association has exams frequently. For their exam schedule, email exams.w8bi@gmail.com. On March 18th, the Northern Kentucky Amateur Radio Club will hold a testing session at 5:30 p.m. at the Bethesda Community Church, 989 East Mount Zion Road in Independence, Kentucky. Pre-registration is required. To register, contact Mark Volstead, AI4BJ at MVOLSTAD@TWC.com. On April 13th at 10 a.m., the Westchester Amateur Radio Association will be hosting an amateur radio exam session at 10 a.m. at the Voice of America Museum, 8070 Tylerville Road in Westchester, Ohio. Please pre-register at hamstudy.org/sessions/WC8VOA. On April 18th at 6 p.m., the Milford Amateur Radio Club will be hosting an amateur radio exam session at the Miami Township Civic Center, 6101 Meyer Drive in Milford, Ohio. Please pre-register at milfordhamradio.org. On April 20th, the Dial Amateur Radio Club will hold an amateur radio testing session at 9 a.m. at the Fairfield Township Administration Building, 6032 Morris Road in Hamilton, Ohio. Go to www.qsl.net/W8BLV and click on exams. For more information, contact Thurl Golden, KD8VLU at 513-939-4891. Special thanks to this week's content contributors: KE4WA, K9GX, KY4GW, WB8YYS, KD8ZLD, K9HIO, N8LAR, K4NKU.
If you have something you think other amateur radio operators in the area would be interested in, send the information or your recorded audio file attached in an email to ab4ws.radio@gmail.com.
Covering your amateur radio news and information in the greater Cincinnati, Ohio, Kentucky, and Indiana tri-state area. This is Jack Prindle, AB4WS in Big Bone, Kentucky.